Where do I start, to be honest? The journey for the parent of the child with the special needs is very stressful, I would say. Starting from the point of actually receiving a diagnosis and then trying to be part of society and feel actually included. I don't think as neurotypical people we often realize how simple tasks are difficult for the people with disabilities. Shopping, entering the bus. There is so many situations on daily basis that we don't realize how difficult they are for the people with disabilities. I would like to see equal opportunities for children, young people and even adults with disabilities to have some prospects for their future, which currently I don't believe it's happening. Services are only working for the young people until the age of 17. There isn't really much that it's happening for young people with disabilities. Employment rate for the young people with disabilities is very low. I would like to see some places run by people with disabilities, places that entering, you know that you will be served by someone with the special needs, so there will be that compassion and understanding and lack of judgment towards those people. Yes, we do see people with disabilities working here and there, but I don't think that understanding is there. People often get annoyed when the service takes too long or the person you're asking questions cannot always help you. So I would say the work placement for the people with disabilities, that would be something amazing. I would like to think that my daughter growing up in Luton will have opportunity to get paid job. She will have opportunity for a good education. Not only for my daughter, I would like every person with disability to feel that they are part of the community, and I would like their life to be easier. I would like lifts in the shopping malls to work. I would like them to feel that they don't have to be embarrassed by their condition, and obviously we will never know exactly each of the disabilities and how they're impacting on people, but I think we have to share the knowledge, we have to try to involve people into including people with disability into the community, and hopefully in the next couple of years things will change and we will feel that Luton is a disability friendly town.
Oh, that's a big question, that is. Especially around Luton, especially around this area. We've got lots and lots of cafes and bars and restaurants. Not many have got ramps to get up into. So being in a wheelchair or any other mobility problems, they've got steps to get up. And also, some of the buses in this area, someone has decided to order their buses but not realised, hang on a moment, there's a wheelchair space, but where are we going to put the buggies? One side, you've got the wheelchair and buggy space. The other side, you've got seats. So when there's a buggy on board, I have been refused to get on that bus. And when, I say to them, well, I can't fold this up. Can you ask the lady to fold the buggy up? Some of the drivers said, no. So I'm waiting there for the next bus, and it could be another hour before the next bus comes. Also, well, It has been changed lately. If you've got an assistant, it used to be that if the assistant comes in with the wheelchair, with the person, they talk to the person who's pushing, not the person in the wheelchair. It has changed a lot. I think a lot of people have been told how to or accept the person. We've come on leaps and bounds, but there can be a lot more done.
Well, speaking for myself, it is a sighted world, and you know, visually impaired people, we are a minority group. I do know people who expect everybody to bend over backwards for them. It's not going to happen. I mean, everybody thinks that, you know, oh, we put a few Braille signs up. Most visually impaired people don't read Braille. A lot of the things I struggle with is like, I mean, we could use an app on our phone to help us find a building. I have struggled finding the door. It's like, I find a building and then I can't find the door. Like, how do you get into this place? That's something I've got to, you know, ask somebody. You ask somebody, so excuse me, how do I get in here? It's like, but people will do that. You ask somebody and they'll help you. I mean, we use trains a lot and they bend over backwards to help you. We've done a train journey and we've had, you know, they jump out all over the place. Are you okay there? Do you need help? Do you need help? Whatever. So I don't think there's not much room for improvement there. Bosses are not so great. We, within our own sort of community, if somebody's going to speak to you, it helps if they say who they are. I mean, that would help, especially people in authority, if they say who they are, you know, that helps because they could be anybody, but because otherwise they're just a voice, you don't know who that person is. You know, that sort of thing, identifying yourself, and it might be with a t-shirt or something like that, verbally, because we can't see who's who. And I don't expect too much change because, I mean, I'm generally nice to everybody and I find in return they're nice back. You get the odd person who can be rude. It's happened to me. I've had somebody say to me once, well, you're not blind, I've just seen you using your phone. It's on speech. And even though you say it's on speech, no, they're not having it. And what's it to them anyway? You know, like, just mind your own business, you know.
I'd say more understanding. I've been in the chair and husband's been pushing me in town and some guy's going, oh, you've got the life of Riley in there. And I'm like, yeah, it's great just being in here. And also just be aware of someone there. When I'm in the wheelchair, I feel like invisible. I've had people talk to my husband or talk kind of down to me like, oh yeah. Or one time I was in a shop and I did a bit of shopping, husband went to get something, he could come back and she went, would you like a bag for her? Rather than asking me in the chair, I'm like, hello, I'm in a chair, I'm not, you know. Yeah, I've had people whack me with things in shops and all sorts. Just be aware that not every disability is visible. You know, sometimes I'll get out of the chair and get up and look for something in the shop and they'll look at me like, well, she doesn't need that wheelchair. But it's like a 2-minute walk that I can do. So just aware. Accessibility could be some. In some places we can't go because you just can't get up the steps. Yesterday I had my eye test done and the shop I put on the bottom as a wheelchair user and the shop didn't have a downstairs room, so I had to struggle up the flights of stairs. So more accessibility in shops and at events would be good.
I think people understanding every disability. I think if people come across disabilities or conditions that people don't understand or that are quite rare, then people should, especially public services, medical professionals, people working with people in the community, I think you have an obligation to actually sit down and research and think about it. I would like people to stop asking me in shops when I'm in public places, shouting across rooms, what have you done to your neck? Have you slept funny? I constantly have people asking me what's wrong with your neck. I didn't realise it would be like that. I think people need to be a bit more aware and educated And I think people especially need to be aware that the things they say and asking questions, asking people what's wrong, can have quite a negative impact on people. And I think employers need to just stop believing because they have disability confidence that they're going to be great employers, because they employ staff and some of those staff may not have their values. I've had 2 bad experiences in employment which did tick the box for disability confident, which was great, but the actual some of the staff members were not that disability friendly. And I think it's good that you have all of this and all the Equality Act, but at the same time I don't think you haven't got it right yet. There's a lot more to be done. I think people assume because there's acts in place and there's Equality Acts and diversity, it's all okay. But when you live in the world with a disability, when you live in the world where you're vulnerable and you need support and you don't have the same independence you used to have, it isn't perfect, and there's a lot more understanding and work to be done. I think with employment, I think with medical professionals, I often go to doctors. One doctor thought with the tremor that I was an alcoholic at one time. I often get doctors say, oh, what's wrong with you? What have you done to your neck? And I say, well, is it not on my notes? And they say, well, I don't understand what it means. So I'm often, you're exhausted having battles. It'd be nice if people, if they know they're going to see you, they know they're going to you're going to visit them, say for instance a consultant or somebody, that they took the time 10 minutes before to research. But I think the wider community need to understand it's not fair to shout across to people in the street. I've had a woman across the road once who came over to me and said, excuse me, what's wrong with you? And at that point, my neck was more twisted at that point. Through physio and exercise, I've managed to align myself better. But I don't think people realise the psychological impact that has on you, because you feel devalued as a person. You feel in employment if people are mocking you and things like that, you feel that they don't value your qualifications or your skills. So I think there's a long way to go. It's good what's happening. Please don't think it's perfect. It is not. When you live in that world, it looks good on paper, but in the real world, there's a lot more that can be done.
One thing particular is stopping cars happening on the pavement. Because when cars park on the pavement and somebody's in a wheelchair or got a rollator like me, or even a pushchair, you can't get past. You can't get past them. You're even if you've got overhanging hedges to go past, you have to go into the road sometimes. I've been with my mother who was elderly, and trying to get her past the parked cars was very difficult because she was blind as well. Also, it would be lovely if everybody, all school children, could learn sign language, and also deaf awareness. A lot of deaf people don't use sign language, but I think myself that deaf people need to be included in society. Sign language and deaf awareness should be taught right from a young age, so that someone who's deaf is not a separate community, they're within the community. And also, I think that everybody should be tolerant, and if somebody has something different in their lives, if somebody has something different, people need to be understanding. With my health condition, I've got a health condition called myasthenia gravis. And quite often, if I have a bad attack, I find that I'm completely and utterly weak of it. People think, oh, I've fallen asleep because I can't open my eyes. Well, I can't speak. And people think perhaps I might be drunk. But people don't understand that I can hear everything going round, but I cannot physically move my body in any way. So it's a case of, I think people need to be understanding of people who've got disabilities or things, and say, well, not jump to conclusions as to what's wrong with that person. Just ask them questions, but as I said, be there for everybody.
Society will never change if it continues like this, because there don't give the same opportunity as a normal person to another disability person, because they think they can't do things when they want to do, because they always put in a difficult corner that with negative stuff. They can say some good stuff they do to encourage them, rather than saying the negative stuff that they can't do. So that will inspire them to do more and more good things.